Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming back to How Love Bites. My name is Dennis, and I wanted to open up today with something that I had heard and remembered, and just thought it might be appropriate today. Okay, so when asked what is the biggest mistake we make in life, that's a big one, huh? Is that you think, and we all do, we think we have time. Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. Once it's lost, you can never, ever get it back. So, something to think about while you're out peeing away your time, and realize that there's not an unlimited supply of that stuff going around, okay? So I think that I'd like to talk to you about our show today, my show today. My guy Steve is still on hiatus. He's still on a little traveling expedition, and maybe it's turned into an adventure now. Not sure. But today's title is How to Make a Man Fall in Love with Impressing You. So, how to make a man fall in love with impressing you. Men need to impress you. Ladies, no doubt. I mean, that's a fact, Jack. Men need to impress the ladies. It's not because most men are narcissists who need constant praise from all those around them. But they do need to feel like they possess something special to the woman they decide to be around. The woman a man chooses to be with holds an insane amount of power to lift him up to his very best, or send him crashing down in a spiral of negativity, all broken and his self-esteem shot. One of the best things you can do on a date is to show a man you're interested and that you're impressed with him. Okay, but maybe you don't find him that impressive. Okay, so, don't date him then. If he doesn't impress you, he's not the guy for you. What are you doing? That's simple. Choose guys who have characteristics you admire and cherish, and show him why these are impressive to you. Okay? So this doesn't mean that you have to pander to narcissists. Some entitled self-improvement guys think they're God's gift to women, believing that wealth or achievement somehow entitles them to endless female approbation. You can't spot these guys early on. If he never seems, well, maybe you can. Okay, I'm kind of disagreeing with that because I think you can spot them early on. And if he never seems curious about you or wants to make minimal effort on every date, or has no interest in your passions or dreams, or if he honestly brags about everything he's accomplished, then you could quickly shake off this guy and move on to somebody with a healthy sense of proportion, okay? But the point is, on the first few dates, you really don't know much about this guy. Remember that, okay? You don't. Let me show you a quick example of what not to do here, okay? So I'm going to give you an example of what I call story trumping. No relationship to the president. Okay, 0. It's when one person tries to tell you a story that he's passionate about, only to have his partner immediately override him with their own superior anecdote. Okay, for example, now here's the example. This is him now. I went to the Far East this year. Shanghai was one of the coolest cities I've ever seen in my life. Her. You. Oh, I lived in China for 5 years. I know it really well. Have you been to Vietnam? You should definitely go there if you haven't been anywhere. You might think that this is just your honest response. Okay, you didn't mean any harmful intentions, but look at it this way. It dismisses his cool experience and brushes it off without interest or follow-up. Okay, so he's clearly telling the story because he wants to impress you. Okay, that's obvious. So realize that, see that. Okay, he wants to impress you about his traveling experience. Me, on the other hand, I go to the Dells. I shoot the wad up at the Dells any chance I get. And for those of you that don't know where the Dells are, they're in Wisconsin. It was near Illinois. And anyway, a fun place. Moving right along. You can ask him more. You can say something like, wow, that sounds like fun. What was it like? So you don't have to jump right in and go, oh, I lived there for 5 years and I was ordering Chinese food like nobody's business, or Vietnamese food. So you can always tell him about your experiences afterward, but let him open up before you share in return. This is your chance to wow him by being impressed by him. So try this instead. Okay, here's that same situation, a little different. Okay, this is him. This is the guy. I went to the Far East this year. Shanghai was one of the coolest cities I've ever seen. And this is you. Oh, wow. China's incredible. That's so fun that you went there. Was it a culture shock? And he says, well, it was pretty different. The food was so cheap, though. You can get a huge plate of beef and noodles for less than $2. And you say, that sounds like heaven. I've heard the street food in Vietnam is the best in the world. I've always wanted to go there. Also, what was the best part of the city for you? Well, he may have been talking about China and you were talking about Vietnam, but don't worry, it'll work. Okay? The conversation generates 10 times the rapport of the previous one. You're sharing his enthusiasm, and you're amplifying it further. Praise the trait, not the achievement. Okay? Remember that. Praise the trait, not the achievement. Some guys will brag about a sporting achievement, telling you of a marathon they ran last summer, and saying how proud they were of beating a personal best. Okay, maybe they beat their own record. Or maybe they'll tell you about the time they played some serious college basketball. Maybe they'll mention how well their software business has done since they've decided to take the risk and go it alone. Okay, so in these cases, praise the trait and not the achievement. For example, if a guy says how successful his business is and that he's now, he's got a holiday home in Florida. So rather than saying, wow, you must be doing really well to have all that. Excuse me. Say instead, here's a hero technique, okay? So use this. I think it's so great you've had the drive to create something of your own and the dedication it takes to achieve that. It's really impressive. Okay, good thing to say. Complimenting the character traits that make him successful is more classy and subtle than being impressed with what he's acquired. Like houses, cars, Teslas, blah, blah, blah. See how in the latter example you're praising who he is. This makes you more memorable in his eyes and makes him feel better when he's around you. If a guy has a sporting achievement, you can equally say, wow, that's so impressive. You must be so dedicated. I really admire the focus of people who train every day. It must have taken so much mental strength to do. Well done. A guy treasures a compliment like this because he feels like you are seeing him the way he wants to be seen. It's like someone who truly understands a part of him. I always feel this when guys and people compliment me on my own business. And even girls. If people tell me they admire the business itself or the success of it, I feel flattered. But if they admire the traits that I feel went into the business creating it, I feel connected to that person in a much more powerful way. If you show a guy you admire the traits that made him the man he is, that's when you'll start to become the woman he can't replace. Get it? Thanks. Thanks for joining me today. And join me again for another great show of How Love Bites. And remember, it's howlovebites.com. Phone number is 480-389-6020. Like Barbara Walters would say, 20. Thanks, guys.